Welcome to Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, with your host, Steve Garrett, lifetime member of the National Corvette Museum, president of the Corvette Club of Kansas City, Missouri, and radio disc jockey at the #1 radio station in Kansas City for over 45 years. Here's Steve Garrett.
Thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, and the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. I appreciate you tuning in. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call them at 833-840-5334. You can listen to Corvette Today on all podcast platforms. You can also listen on your smart device. Just say, "Hey Google," or "Alexa, play the podcast called Corvette Today," and you're connected. And be sure to visit the Corvette Today website. It's CorvetteToday.com. You can access everything there, including the Corvette Today merchandise store. You can also join our Corvette Today Facebook group there as well. Also, make sure you sign up for the Corvette Today emails, notifications, and updates at CorvetteToday.ck.page. And be sure to subscribe to our Corvette Today YouTube channel. See all Corvette Today episodes on YouTube as well. And be sure to patronize our flagship sponsors of Corvette Today, MidEngineCorvetteForum.com, the forum that focuses on the new mid-engine C8 Corvette. Meet a lot of fellow Corvette enthusiasts like yourself at MidEngineCorvetteForum.com. Soul Performance Products, developed and manufactured in the United States, the Soul Performance Products exhaust portfolio has been tailored to elevate the experience of the world's most exciting sports cars, including the latest generation of the Corvette. Soul Performance Products at SOULPP.com, the official performance exhaust of Corvette Today. Aerolarri Wheels, a true forged wheel with over 20 unique styles to choose from for your C8 and wide-body versions of the C7, C6, and C5 Corvette. It's an amazing value, starting at only $23.88 for a set of 4 fully forged wheels. And use the promo code CT111 and get $100 off your purchase. Visit Aerolarri.com. Ciocca Corvettes. If you're a Corvette enthusiast, and I know you are since you're listening and watching Corvette Today, then you need to know about Ciocca Corvette. They're based in Atlantic City, where you can find over 100 new and pre-owned vets on the lot and inbound. Ciocca also ships Corvettes all over the country, custom ordered to your specifications. They're staffed with experienced pros who can answer all your questions. So don't compromise. Visit CioccaCorvette.com. That's CIOCCA Corvette.com and find out more. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. E5 Wheels. E5 Wheels is a passionate and dedicated wheel company that serves only Corvette. They make spun-forged wheels for your C8, C7, and C6 Corvette. With the best fitment in the industry, E5 Wheels ensures your wheels complement the aesthetics and functionality while optimizing the performance of your Corvette. Visit e5wheels.com or call them at 305-964-7429. If you're ready to finance your next Corvette, Woodside Credit is the go-to place for enthusiasts. With the lowest monthly payments in America and a process designed to make getting behind the wheel quick and easy, it's no surprise Corvettes are one of the most popular vehicles to finance. Visit woodsidecredit.com to estimate your low monthly payment with a quick quote. And be sure to mention Corvette Today as your referral for a special gift when your loan is funded. And a shout out to Corvette Forum, welcoming Corvette enthusiasts from around the world. Watkins Glen is the birthplace of American road racing, and one of the biggest events of the year at Watkins Glen is Corvette Thunder at the Glen. Here to tell us more about the event is Kip Zeiter. Kip is the Visitor Services Coordinator at the International Motor Racing Research Center there in Watkins Glen, New York. Kip, welcome to Corvette Today.
Hi, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for being on the show. I'm really looking forward to hearing about this because I've heard so much about this event, but you're going to be able to tell us much more and how we can all get involved. First, Kip, give me a little bit of history about the Speedway there at Watkins Glen.
Well, to give you a history of the Speedway, we actually need to start with a history of racing here from the get-go. The first post-World War II road race in the entire United States took place here in Watkins Glen in 1948. It was all on public road. Start-finish line was in front of the county courthouse, and it made a big circle utilizing those public roads of 6.6 miles around the state park. So they ran on that from 1948 to 1952. Attendance grew from the early days of 10, 12, 15,000 to upwards of 130 to 40,000
wow.
in 1951 and 52. Now, they had suffered a driver fatality in 1950, but mercifully had not had any spectator fatalities until, sadly, in 1952, a car kind of brushed the crowd. A young boy was killed and several other people were injured. So, as you might expect, that was the end of racing through the village. The crowds had simply grown so large they were almost spilling out into the street. So, for the next 3 years, they moved out of town. They used town roads. They just weren't in the village, and they developed a circuit of roughly 4.5 miles in length. And they ran on that from 53 to 1955. Now, the ultimate goal was to have a permanent circuit. You can't keep closing public roads down, inconvenience for people and everything. So in 1956, 550 acres of land were purchased up on top of the hill. And the first circuit, the first permanent circuit was built. It was roughly 2.4 miles in length, kind of a teardrop-shaped circuit. The goal was to have average speeds of 100 miles an hour, which they did. Years go on. What happens to race cars? What happens to technology? Race cars don't get slower, they get faster. So by the late 1960s, a circuit that had been built in 56, when cars were averaging 100 miles an hour, was woefully inadequate when the cars were averaging upwards of 130 or 40 miles an hour. In 1971, they added a section known as the boot. It's called the boot because, quite honestly, that's exactly what it looks like. It added more than a mile to the track, bringing the total track length up to roughly 3.4. And that's pretty much the track as we know it today. So there's been 2 permanent circuits. The first one that was from 56 to roughly 70, 71. The boot was added in 71, and the circuit has been more or less the same up until today. So in talking about the present-day circuit, you really have to reflect on how the whole origin of racing began here 77 years ago now.
That's pretty fascinating. Now, the racetrack is now owned by NASCAR, isn't it?
It is. Originally, when that first circuit was built, there was a corporation that was founded. The corporation was intact for many, many, many years. They brought Formula One here to Watkins Glen in 1961, and it had a glorious 20-year history until 1980. The track was getting into some relatively severe financial problems at about that same time, in part due to how they financed building the boot in the early 70s. So they actually hadn't been able to pay the purse for the 79 Grand Prix. They'd built up a lot of good feelings among the Grand Prix community, so they gave them a 1-year reprieve, and they came back, and unfortunately they were still in bad shape in 1980. So that was the last year of Formula One. The track then went into bankruptcy for a couple of years. There were still Sports Car Club of America races being run on the track, even though the track was in bankruptcy. It was purchased by Corning Glass in probably 81 or 82. I apologize, I don't know the exact year. Corning Glass bought it not because they wanted to brag about owning a racetrack, but Corning Glass's corporate philosophy was we want to do well for people in the region. And when thousands of people come here for races, they don't all stay in Watkins. They could stay in Corning and Ithaca and a number of places. Corning owned it. It was being managed by the International Speedway Corporation. Over the years, the percentages, ISC's percentage went up, Corning's went down. It ultimately became an ISC track. And of course, NASCAR gobbled up ISC here within the last 2 or 3 years. So yes, you are correct that it is now a firmly NASCAR-owned track, but it has only been a NASCAR-owned track for the last several years.
Gotcha. Now, Watkins Glen has hosted nearly every road racing class as well, haven't they?
They have. Most people think that the premier road racing series in the world, of course, is the Grand Prix circuit. As I just said, we hosted the Grand Prix here for 20 years, from 1961 to 80. It was an absolute fabulous time. It was a much simpler time. The event was really almost community run in that high school students would sell programs to raise money for senior trips.
Nice.
People from the village would sell tickets. I mean, it was great. So Formula One had a great 20 years here, but IndyCar has raced here. Interestingly enough, not many people know that the first professional race, and by that I mean where people actually got paid to show up and compete here, was a NASCAR race way back in 1957. So NASCAR raced here in 57. They raced here in 64 and 65. And they have been a permanent part of the annual schedule since 1986. The NASCAR weekend is far and away the biggest spectator event that we have here. We've had Indy cars and, of course, sports cars, IMSA, which is huge and getting bigger. Even NASCAR modifieds. I grew up on short track racing and NASCAR modifieds. The mods guys have run here on, I think, 3 or 4 different occasions.
Wow.
And they actually ran motorcycles, I believe, 3 or 4 times in the very early years of the permanent circuit. But there's not enough runoff area for bikes now. So the motorcycle thing was a fairly short experiment, only lasted a few years. They haven't run motorcycle races at the track for years and years and years.
Interesting. Now, let's talk more about the connection that Watkins Glen has with Corvette.
Well, it all starts in 1951. The gentleman that designed the Corvette, the great Harley Earl, GM's head stylist and engineer, contacted a gentleman by the name of Nick Fraboni, who was the owner of the then Glen Chevrolet dealership. Mr. Earl wanted to come to Watkins Glen to see the sports car races. And keep in mind, in 51, they were still running through the streets of Watkins. So Mr. Fraboni said, well, sure, you can come and you can spend the weekend with me. Harley was going to bring a very fancy, stylish car called the LeSabre, one of his 1950s fins and jet-inspired design cars, and he needed a place to store it, so of course he was able to store it at Glen dealership. So Mr. Earl comes out for the 51 races. He drives the car through the streets of town. The car is a huge hit. People ogling it all the time. Mr. Earl himself was a huge favorite with spectators. He was a big, tall, genial gentleman, so he just endeared himself with everybody. He was absolutely blown away by the fact that there were 30,000 people here cheering all these cars as they were running through the streets, but they weren't cheering for any American cars.
Oh.
There were American engine cars, like all the Cat Allards, but there was no true American sports car. Mr. Earl commented several times to Mr. Fraboni throughout the course of that weekend that, wow, America just seems to be missing the boat here because there's MGs and there's Porsches and there's Ferraris and, there's all different kinds of makes, but they're all foreign makes. So Mr. Earl goes back to Detroit. 2 years later, in 1953, we have the design of the Corvette, America's sports car, and subsequently he gives several interviews, one in particular to a Detroit journalist named Stanley Brahms, where he flat out comes out and says, I got the whole inspiration for the Corvette when I was in Watkins Glen in 1951.
Wow, that's so cool. And Corvette's been racing there at the Glen since the mid-50s then, haven't they? Yeah,
pretty much. We've got photos. I think you have a couple photos there from 1955. And yes, they've competed here pretty much since then. The 1953 Corvette honestly was kind of a sports car in name only. It was a 2 or 3 speed automatic, a very low powered engine. Clearly over the years, long ago, evolved into truly America's sports car. But the first ones really weren't that sporty. But yeah, since the mid-50s, Corvettes have competed here in any number of different classes and very, very successfully over the years.
Fantastic. Well, Kip, let's take our first break. When we come back, we're going to get more into the specifics of Corvette Thunder at the Glen. That's coming up next here on Corvette Today.
We all know that wheels make the car. Wheelcraft's PVD chrome finish in bright chrome or black chrome will take your Corvette to new levels. And it comes with a 5-year warranty. Durability is a defining feature of the Wheelcraft finish. Their PVD chrome is superior to traditional chrome with a finish that is brake dust resistant and cleans effortlessly with soap and water. Wheelcraft offers factory wheel exchange for select C4 through C8 models, or they can apply the PVD finish to your current wheels. No matter what generation you own, Wheelcraft will transform the look of your Corvette. With every Corvette comes a unique story, and Wheelcraft has embraced this idea. When you purchase your new set of wheels, you receive a lifetime membership to the Wheelcraft Pit Crew, granting you access to your own page on Wheelcraft's website, where you can post pictures and tell your Corvette story. Visit our website at wheelcraft.com or call 833-639-4231. Arrive in style with Wheelcraft.
The National Corvette Restorer Society is a proud sponsor of Corvette Today. Are you already an NCRS member? If not, you should consider joining, and here's why. The NCRS means community. We're a community of individuals who love the Corvette hobby and enjoy the fellowship that NCRS provides. We have NCRS chapters throughout the U.S. and Canada where members can meet monthly and share in the enjoyment of the Corvette with like-minded people. NCRS means excellence. NCRS trains some of the best and most educated judges and informed owners in the car collector world. NCRS means inclusion. Owners of both classic and new Corvettes are welcome. We offer flight and concourse judging for 53 through 07 model years and sportsman awards for Corvettes ranging from 53 through 2025. NCRS means leadership. With over 10,000 members, NCRS researches, writes, publishes, and distributes tech manuals and judging guides for the 53 through 07 Corvettes. No other Corvette organization does this, and they're available available for purchase. Members also receive the bi-monthly and award-winning Restore magazine and Driveline magazine throughout the year. We also host an extensive technical discussion board at ncrs.org. Finally, NCRS means value. Many of our prestigious awards can and often do increase the value of the cars that achieve our awards. Whether you own a 53 Corvette or the latest 25 model, the NCRS has a place for you. Check us out at ncrs.org.
Hi, I'm Mark Falter, host of the Retirement Income Hour podcast and Corvette enthusiast. I know when I bought my Z06, I was thinking two things. These cars are fabulous, and wow, are they expensive. Owning a Corvette isn't just about driving fast, it's about living life in the fast lane. But are your finances keeping up? On my podcast, I make wealth management as smooth as your Corvette on the open road. Whether it's planning your retirement, building your investments, or how to get enough income from your retirement to pay for your Corvette vision, I got you covered. Search the Retirement Income Hour podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and let's shift your finances into overdrive. I'll see you on the open road financially and literally.
Investment advisory services offered through Mid-American Wealth Advisory Group, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm.
You're listening and watching Corvette Today with Steve Garrett.
Thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. It's the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Wheelcraft carries all the latest factory wheel designs for the C8 Stingray, Z06, and E-Ray, and popular wheel designs from previous generations. Along with bright chrome and black chrome, Wheelcraft now offers bronze and custom colors at half the cost of OEM. So visit wheelcraft.com or give them a call, 833-639-4231 for more information. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is Kip Zeiter. Kip and I are talking about Corvette at the Glen. Kip, tell me the dates of Corvette at the Glen.
It's Saturday and Sunday, May 17th and 18th. For those people that may want to come in on Friday the 16th, we are having a very informal welcome to the village party at a real cool bar called Kukla Rocks, which is just a block up from the courthouse, which is right in the center of town. So anybody can show up and hang out there. But the formal event is Saturday the 17th. We're having a car show from 10 to 3 in the afternoon, and then a wonderful dinner that evening. Our featured speaker is going to be Richard Prince, who's the official Corvette race team photographer. I believe you've interviewed him.
Yes, sir.
Did a wonderful book called Corvette 70, The One and Only. He's spoken here at the center a couple different times. He's just a wonderful, fantastic gentleman. So he's going to be our featured speaker Saturday. And then Sunday is a drive the original 6.6-mile street circuit and end up at the famous WGI for some laps around the track.
Very cool. Now, talk to me more about the events on Saturday, because I know you've got food trucks there and things like that. Then you've got a dinner that night. Is that where Richard Prince is going to be speaking at that dinner?
Yes, the car show itself is held at Clute Park, which is right at the end of beautiful Seneca Lake. So, fingers crossed, we'll have a lovely sunny day. Not a better place to hang out than right in the park, right at the foot of the lake. The dinner is at the community building, which literally is right across the road from where the car show takes place in the park that afternoon. Richard will be our featured speaker that night. We're very excited about that. There will be vendors and various other exhibitors, and I'm in process of trying to put together, it'll be a small but hopefully interesting exhibit of some Corvette race cars. We won't have them mixed in with the cars that are there to be shown, but we'll have them in a separate area so people can go check out the Corvette race cars. I'm still working on that project. But it's going to be a fun day. I don't think we have a band, but I think we have a DJ, so there'll be music, and people could just come out and hang out and meet new people and look at cars. Pretty cool way to spend the day.
Fantastic. Give me an overview of Sunday then, too.
Well, here's kind of the awkward thing, to be candid about it. The awkward thing we're in the position of right now, because our Sunday events actually right now are sold out. We have a finite number of cars that we can put on the street and then drive the original course. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 130 cars. Pretty much it was the same thing going to the track to run the laps. While we're actually sold out of the Sunday events, the drive the old course and do the track, People are still encouraged to spend the night, stay over. All the merchants will be open up and down Franklin Street. The cars are going to be positioned on Franklin Street, and they'll be hanging out there for a couple hours before everything takes off midway through the afternoon. We have reserved the Watkins Theater. We're going to show a couple short films, one of which the center shows here quite frequently. It's called 25 Years at Speed, the Watkins Glen story, and it's a great recap of the first 25 years of racing in Watkins. So it takes you from 1948 to 1972.
Wow.
The other one, I'm trying to be honest, I'm trying to hustle something from the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green. We showed a great movie on kind of the history of the museum here a couple of years ago. So if I can get my hands on that, or just something kind of an overall arcing story of the history of Corvette. So we'll have the theater blocked off for an hour, hour and a half or so. Again, this is kind of awkward to say that our Sunday stuff is sold out. We still have plenty of space for the Saturday car show and the dinner. So if you wanted to come out and just hang out with us for the day, you are more than welcome to do that.
That sounds good. Well, Kip, let's take our final break. When we come back, let's talk about how everybody can participate at Corvette Thunder at the Glen. That's coming up next here on Corvette Today.
Are you ready for a better insurance policy without the Corvette tax? With agreed value protection, the value of your collector vehicle will never change. Plus, you'll save money. Get a quick quote at ncminsurance.com.
Hey, Corvette lovers, this is Brian Sarr from IntelliSense Family Office. You've formerly known us as True Wealth and Company. First off, a huge congratulations to Steve Garrett on celebrating 5 amazing years of Corvette Today. We've been proud sponsors every mile of the way. You know the thrill and drive and the pride of ownership, but here's the big question. Do you have the same confidence in managing your wealth? At IntelliSense Family Office, we specialize in helping high net worth individuals like you protect, grow, and enjoy their wealth. Whether you're a successful entrepreneur, a professional athlete, or someone who's worked hard to achieve your financial goals, we've got you covered with personalized expert advice. We understand the unique challenges you face and the dreams you have for the future. From advanced tax planning to succession planning, we provide comprehensive services tailored to your needs. Our goal? To give you peace of mind so you can focus on what you love. Ready to take your financial management to the next level? Visit IntelliSense.com or reach out to us today at 913-653-8783. Let's drive your financial success together. I'm Brian Sarf, and I look forward to helping you live the dream. Save the wave and see you on the road. Investment advisory services offered through IntelliSense Investment Solutions Incorporated, an SEC registered investment advisor.
When you want to buy a Corvette, or any Chevrolet for that matter, get yours from Hendrick Chevrolet Shawnee Mission, located in Kansas City. Hendrick Chevrolet is the largest Corvette dealership and showroom in the Midwest. With a knowledgeable sales staff and Corvette sales specialists on hand, they'll help you build the Corvette of your dreams, and they ship nationwide. With Corvette certified master mechanics on site and a huge parts department with over 24,000 parts and $2 million in inventory, Hendrick Chevrolet is well equipped to take care of your every need. From sales to service to collision repair, Hendrick Chevrolet has you covered. Visit ChevyUSA.com or call 913-384-1550.
Rev up your ride with the ultimate upgrade. The Radiator Grill Store is your go-to destination for top-notch C8 Corvette Stingray, Z06, and E-Ray accessories. Elevate your style with custom-painted engine bay covers, sleek front splitters, and side skirts that scream sophistication. Keep your C8 protected with premium Radiator Grill screens. Stand out from the crowd at car shows and beyond. Use code CT10 for an exclusive 10% discount off your total purchase at RadiatorGrillStore.com. Don't miss out on turning heads. Upgrade your Corvette today.
And now back to the only current podcast on Corvettes, Corvette Today, with your host, Steve Garrett.
Thanks once again for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Wheelcraft carries all the latest factory wheel designs for the C8 Stingray, Z06, and E-Ray, and popular wheel designs for previous generations as well. Along with a bright chrome and black chrome, Wheelcraft now offers bronze and custom colors at half the cost of OEM. So visit wheelcraft.com or give them a call, 833-639-4231 for more information. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is Kip Zeiter. We are talking about Corvette Thunder at the Glen. In this final segment, we're going to tell you how you can participate. Kip, if a Corvette owner wants to participate in the event, how can they get registered?
This is embarrassing. I don't have the exact website, but if you simply Google Watkins Glen Promotions Corvette Thunder at the Glen, you're going to get it.
Okay.
And you'll get a very nice website. You'll see Mr. Prince leaning against his Corvette. You can scroll down to register for the Saturday car show and or the Saturday dinner. As I say, unfortunately, our Sunday events are sold out, but we urge you to stay over and just kind of hang out and have fun with us on Sunday. So just Google up Corvette Thunder at the Glen and you'll find us.
That's perfect. Now, there's also some sponsorship opportunities available, and I bring that up because that's great for like Corvette clubs that want to come or even some vendors, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. When you go to that website, not only is there a place to register if you just want to come and hang out with us individually, but yes, should you be interested in sponsorship, there's a little window to open up for that, and you can see the various levels of sponsorship and what you get for that. This will air, I guess, about a month before the show. Who isn't always looking for sponsorship?
Yeah.
We're looking for sponsorship. So yeah, if you see something that you might like, or if you just like to come and hang out with us, it's a bit of a stretch. I know this is a nationwide thing. You're in Kansas City. We're in upstate New York. It's a bit of a stretch to ask somebody from Kansas City to drive up here, but certainly New York, Pennsylvania, New England, Jersey, anybody in that general area, easy peasy drive to get here. And there can be lots worse places to hang out on a May weekend than Watkins Glen, New York. Trust me.
Definitely, buddy. That's for sure. Now, you're also looking for some volunteers for the event. Isn't that right?
Yeah, we are. We can always use that for registration, for cleanup. There's always stuff to do. We have been working on this event easily for, my goodness, probably the last 7 or 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
With a very small but very dedicated committee of Corvette enthusiasts and fans and everything. But there's only so much we can do. So, yes, we're always looking for people to chip in and help out and do whatever they can do.
That sounds good. And you're right. For me in Kansas City, that's a long drive to upstate New York. If I'm going to be flying in for Corvette Thunder at the Glen, what's the best airport to fly into?
Well, the closest airport is probably Elmira. It's not a very large airport, so you're limited, let's say, a little bit. Ithaca is marginally farther away. Again, Ithaca is about the same size as Elmira. Your largest major airport, I'll say, would probably be either Syracuse or Rochester. I would say do Rochester in lieu of Syracuse. Easy peasy airport to get in and out of, pretty easy drive to get down here. So in terms of more airlines, more flights, more possible combination, and equally as important, potentially a lower fare, I would check either Rochester or Syracuse on that. But you've also, like I say, you've got Elmira and Ithaca.
That sounds good. Are there any hotels that you would recommend in the area to stay in while they're there for Corvette Thunder at the Glen?
We do have an official hotel. It's the Hotel Laurel. And in fact, when you get on the website, you'll see a lovely picture. The Hotel Laurel is actually quite historic. It was the old Glen Motor Inn, which in the era of the Grand Prix days was the place to stay. The drivers and the team owners all stayed at the Glen Motor Inn. The Glen Motor Inn fell on some hard times and was recently purchased and renovated, and it's very nice now. It had an absolutely spectacular location overlooking Seneca Lake. The dining area has a floor-to-ceiling window view of the lake. So that's our official hotel. That would be right on the website, so you could call them and check out rates and availability easy enough. There's a number of smaller, more mom and pop, I guess for lack of a better term, hotels in the area as well. One of the reasons we're having it when we're having it is we're right on the cusp of the true tourist season here, when the rates go up dramatically and hotel availability gets to be difficult. So that's why we're kind of purposely doing this just a week before. Memorial Day is pretty much the official kickoff of summer, and that's when everything starts going up rate-wise. So there's a reason why we've picked the weekend we can. The other thing I might talk about real quickly, if you do come for the event, we urge you to come in and visit us here at the Motor Racing Research Center. This place opened up in 1998. We are an archival library research institution. Our whole reason for being is to keep the history of international motorsports alive. So we've got a reference library of over 6,000 books. We have periodicals. We just have lots and lots of stuff. We're not a car museum, but I always have an interesting car on the floor. So come in and check out what we have on the floor and just come in and hang out with us. If you want to take a quick break from the car show, it's a fairly easy walk from the lake up to our place and come hang out with us for a little bit too. The phone number here at the center is area code 607-535-9044.
That sounds fantastic. Kip, thank you so much for being here on Corvette Today. I look forward to Corvette Thunder at the Glen.
Thanks, Steve. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about it. If any of your listeners have any questions, if you call us, chances are I'll get the phone and say hello. please feel free to call with any questions you might have. But thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Thanks again for listening and watching Corvette Today. And be sure to tell your family, friends, and other Corvette enthusiasts about the Corvette Today show. And thanks to our sponsors, Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com to learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call 833-639-4231. Soul Performance Products at SOULPP.com, the official performance exhaust of Corvette Today. Sioka Corvette at CIOCCA Corvette.com. E5 Wheels at E5Wheels.com. IntelliSense at IntelliSense.com. Also, Aerolarri Wheels. Get $100 off your purchase with the promo code CT111 at Aerolarri.com. Mark Falter with the Retirement Income Hour podcast. And Hendrick Chevrolet in Kansas City at ChevyUSA.com.
Thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. If you'd like to contact Steve with ideas for Corvette Today, you can email him at stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Garrett has 2 R's and 2 T's. That's stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Also, sign up for email notifications at corvettetoday.ck.page. Follow Steve and the show on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Threads at Steve Garrett DJ. Thanks again for listening and watching Corvette Today.